We are pressing record this time and multicoder. Okay, now we're rolling.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry. Chompin is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
And we're off and running. It must be a Saturday, and no, it's not a horse race. It is Chompin' Puck. I am your host. Four-time Stanley Cup champion. Four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. Here with my esteemed colleague when it comes to the hockey circle at Woodward Sports, the one and only Michael Gentry Jr. Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, D-Mac.
Good to see. Lots to talk about today. Spenmo Racks, where you can find him every day getting outworked, the hardest working man here at Woodward Sports, where he produces Big D Energy. He has to keep that sleazy easy in line on the heavyweights, and here he is today.
That's a tough job.
Performing yeoman's work right here. My grindliner himself, Spenny. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing good. Feeling
now,
good.
Here's the
Press
thing.
record this time.
Oh, I love it. I love when you get to talk. But here's the thing, right? So, segue. You know we don't record this on a Saturday, even though we just played this on a Monday. So I hope that if you're watching this, you're also watching the Red Wings in Boston, and also 2 afternoon matinees back-to-back, which is, it would be nicer if we were in this. But, Spenny, how's your day? As we record this late into the Friday evening, because you had a good evening last night. You guys had a would you say a field trip with the heavyweights into Royal Oak, and you ended up in my backyard at one of my go-tos, the Owl Diner, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so. How was that, and how you doing late into the day?
Oh, it was amazing. Had a great night last night. A lot of fun with the guys. I was hanging out with Easy and Stick, and we went out there and we did go to the Owl Diner. I got the fried chicken. I actually ate the rest of it for lunch today. So
And how was it on the rebound?
it was just as good.
Loaded question. I already know. The breakfast there is phenomenal. That's a great segue. Can stick around in our second segment. One of my best friends, a guy I've known, and the reason that it's his fault that I do wrestling stuff. So, anyways, we're here to talk with my boy J.R. Adams. He's also not in the wrestling anymore. He's a stunt man. But we got a big charity game coming up at Orchard Lake. Coming up next Saturday, right after the Wings game. After we play the Colorado Avalanche, we play the UCP Pucksters, those mother Pucksters. They are all a bunch. Mikey Ward and his bunch. So Jay, we've been doing that, and we'll hear all about that. So, but before we get into it, Mikey, let's talk. I think it's important. We are a week removed from the trade deadline. A lot of feelings going on back and forth. Some people, but one thing is that I think that everybody, as the waters settle, when we hear from Steve Yzerman, our leader, my captain, your captain, but our fearless leader, is the fact that we are better today, moving forward, to get back to the promised land. And here's the conversation. I had to forget. The promised land, Michael, to me, is a Stanley Cup championship. Is the promised land to you a Stanley Cup championship?
100%.
Spencer's a Stanley Cup. Right? It's not the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not to win a playoff round. It's not. No. So in order that what you're seeing, I call it puberty.
Yeah.
Right? I came out and I had to tell my girl Ariana, if you're watching, right? We had this talk on Twitter. One of my daughters. The fact that this is puberty hurts. Right? And it sucks, and you go through it. And what do I mean? Well, we lost one of my favorite Red Wings in the past 10 years in Philip Hronek. As far as a person, ever since I watched him play fighting with Dylan McElrath, who is 3 times his size, whipping around down in Grand Rapids, I always loved
good stuff.
Loved him, and obviously Tyler Bertuzzi. A lot of our our favorite,
I'm
which
still
I
sad.
still stand firm. The only happy person is my girl Tammy Chin because she's got Ratatouille next to each other. In fact, Tyler Bertuzzi and Brad Marchand, their lockers are next to each other. Isn't that cute? Oh,
I'm sad about that still.
but anyways, so big weekend. Obviously, Wings are playing right now in Boston and have them back to back. But everything's settled. What are your thoughts?
Obviously, it's tough right now for Red Wings fans. You're going through this stage again where you kind of sell off before the deadline. You had a real good high going into the week, trade deadline week, and then it kind of went to shit real quick with Ottawa. But it's a tough time. You see them, they finally snapped their 6-game losing streak against the Blackhawks. It was a good team win. Everyone contributed. Kubi got on the board against his last team. You know, you seen Chison played a big first game at LCA, so that was good to see. But it's overall, I understand where Red Wings fans are coming from. It's very tough. When you thought you had a chance at playoffs, even though you might not have gone anywhere in playoffs, you just wanted that feeling back. But one thing you got to look at is the transparency that Steve Yzerman gave in that press conference after the trade deadline. He knows what he's building here. He knows what he's doing. And as D-Mac, as you always say, you just have to trust him.
No, it is. And here's the one thing. Let me ask you this question, Mike, because you're down there. You are the beat writer. Beat writer, if anybody doesn't know, is the guys that are there every day watching practice, trying to report on these injuries, who's starting, this and that. You tell me. I know from playing with the guy, and he doesn't speak that often, but when he comes into a room, as far as commanding it, and when he talks, right, you know, what does it do to the room, or when he speaks being down there, there's a presence there, and what he's saying, you not only have to believe because it's true, but it's so authentic, isn't it, and genuine?
No, 100%. It's kind of like when Steve Yzerman, obviously you ask him your question, but you're all ears because everything he spits is full transparency, and he's going to tell you straight how it is. So, like I said, you always got to go back to it. You listen to what the man says. You try and trust him, even though we are in the worst of times. You've seen your favorite player, Bertuzzi, go or whatever it is. You just have to look at the bigger picture, D-Mac, and I can't stress that enough.
Well, you can't really stress that enough, too, but let's move forward now and say the work isn't done.
Yeah, no.
Why? Because we're still auditioning guys for the championship roster, and unfortunately, I want to send a shout out and some prayers from Chompin Puck to whatever for speedy and healthy recovery to Robby Fabbri,
yep.
Who I think can be a integral part of this team, but he's got to be healthy, and these knee injuries are just so tough to come back. It's whether his body can come back from it, but definitely a big part, and they miss him. You know, the big thing of that is transparent more than anything is how much they miss Big Rasmussen. When I look back on the season is a lot of times, okay, I can see his development on the score sheet, or if you watch the game, the effectiveness, but putting him on the wing and having that big size body out there, you really don't have until Soderblom comes back up, and but he doesn't play as heavy or big. PK really lacked when he went down. So I think that's a blessing. If he's going to get hurt, let's get hurt now. Let's get the injuries out of the way. And
like you said, Ras has been such a pivotal part of this team, and you can kind of see Andrew Kopp right now. He's kind of just looks like out of it. Like Rasmussen made him feel so much more comfortable. He stressed so many times how much he liked playing with Rasmussen. So, like you said, you losing Fabbri, you hate to see that. You hate to even see it more that it's his knee injury that he's been constantly dealing with. But like you said, we wish him a speedy recovery, and we hope we can get him back as well as Ras for next year, and they can get back to it.
Well, that's the thing, and it's auditioning. So there's no reason not to watch anymore, because you know what you're fighting for now, and I know that you hear the conversations about first rounders, Casper, and you hear conversations, I mentioned Soderblom and Edvinsson and Kosa we brought up. But what you're doing now is what you have. Don't skip the beat. Yep. Right, with a guy like Austin Chernak, who's been called up, that's been in the lineup before and has been productive. Guy that has NHL experience, Alex Chason, who's been bounced around. Is this the opportunity that to land that these guys get? So auditioning, that's what you look for.
Weeding out the guys that aren't fit.
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with money.
Yep.
Right, Steve Yzerman gets the money right. Okay, by contracts when he came in and took in. Even still, even as great as Steve Yzerman, he's still got Justin Abdelkader on the books for $1 million. You had the Franz Nielsen's and different things like that, but he was able to maneuver. Look at the way Steve Yzerman maneuvered at the deadline, and God bless Oscar Sundqvist. Thank you, Claude Lemieux, his agent, for bringing him here and being productive. At $2.75 million. What a great NHL player.
Yeah.
Right. So, but here's another thing. So, you might see these Edvinsons, and you might see some of these young guys get their cup of coffee. I mentioned how Sebastian Cossa down in the East Coast League in Toledo, but I don't care where it is, 7-0, 3 goals, and
it's good.
in the last 7 games and 9-6. I don't care where you're playing. That's productive. So you have guys coming down. Plus, I can't stress enough, right? And we will get into it, and it's not for today. We're gonna take a page out of Stevie's book, and we're gonna give it to you when we want to, not when you want it. But we'll talk about free agencies, and I think more too is that we were talking about it earlier, actually on Friday to yesterday. Neil brought it up. There's really not many guys out there that aren't 32, 33, 34 that you'd spend it on. So
that's
the thing that I'm going to look to are who are guys that you might be able to trade for. Guys like the Alex DeBrinkets, the Mitch Marners. Is there a guy out there that Steve Yzerman likes? So there's still a lot of things to be done.
You got a lot of picks to do it with. You got a lot of picks, a lot of capital. So
and I don't expect him to use all these picks for our guys. But even if he does, one of the things too is that he drafts guys. They play a year, right? Maybe 2 years somewhere, depending if they're 18 or 19. But they still get up here at around 21. That's still fast tracking.
No, absolutely.
So, yes, absolutely. So last week, it's always great to get off the schneid. We talked about it. I think what's interesting too, just on the whole scope of hockey, is here you go, Gary Bettman time of year. Gary Bettman hockey, folks. The last month of the season. Look at the Western Conference. Look at how bottlenecked that wild card races and stuff like this. But teams are getting ready, and there's some really good teams. Really good teams out there. I guess if because it's March Madness in basketball, let me pose you guys this question: with what you've seen right now, give me the 2 teams that you see in the finals this year. Who's coming out of the East and who's coming out of the West? Anybody jump out at you?
It would be hard not to say Boston, and then I still like, even though Colorado's still fighting for that wild card spot right now, their team has battled injuries all year. So once they get into playoffs, I find it hard to believe that any team's gonna beat them in a 7-game series. But I don't know. It's so wide open. There's a lot of good teams in hockey. Like, I love the Rangers. If I was rooting for a team outside of the Red Wings, it would be for the Rangers. Panarin's my favorite player outside of the Red Wings. But I don't know. There's a lot of good teams in the NHL. Who are your picks, D-Mac?
If I was gonna go right now, I like LA. I like LA, just the way that they're positioned, their size, they're sort of a playoff hockey. I think, and I'm gonna go off a little bit, but there's something about this Carolina team.
I do like Carolina too.
And just the way that it's playoff hockey's a different beast, but yeah, you would expect Boston with what they've done this year. Jersey's going to be tough for years to come. They're just figuring it out. The Rangers, I don't know if adding Patrick Kane, like adding Tarasenko was great, but is it too many chefs in the kitchen?
Yeah,
especially with as great of a power play as they usually have.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed since I've watched them is their defense has struggled a lot. And even though they got all those star players, you haven't seen like a huge jump in offense. But it's only been a week now, so you got to give them some time to bounce back. But
what was cool, guys, and what was really cool about being down at the Wings game the other day, Mikey came down, is that we're going to show you. A little bit when we come to mailbag, but talking about the win is that very rarely do if you've never experienced, this is a time of year also too to get down to LCA if you've never experienced the game, because we're going to bring you an interview I did, and I love the fact of being able to talk to you guys out and about. I bring this up because the afternoon game against Colorado on March the 18th, Woodward Sports will have a presence there. I'm trying to recruit everybody from different shows that you might hear, personalities to come down. I'm doing the Game Day Live, which is with Daniela Bruce and Art Ragnar, that's broadcast throughout the arena, but in between periods when I'm standing there signing autographs, playing Mayor of Hockeytown, I want you to meet, sort of my team and something like that too. So if you get a chance, we're going to be out and about March 18th. And everybody's got hockey questions. The great thing is that we are all in this together. We can all agree how we got there, but it's not time to question Stevie yet.
No.
And I just think it's and I think one of the things you saw, and this is why I wanted to, is you got to understand, and these guys are learning too. Just because I know how it is to win, they got to figure it out, and that's emotional. And you know what? Did you see? And this is the one question I wanted to bring up. So after the trade deadline, you could really see mentally that these guys were checked out. Did it look like they were checked out to you too?
Yeah.
Now, did it look like in back Chicago the other night, come home, that they checked back in?
Yeah, it did, and wins like that will help you check back in. Obviously, it sucks when you go on a losing.
No, but during the game.
Oh yeah, right? You could tell.
But do you know what I mean by checked out?
Yeah.
You're there and you're trying and everything else, but really you haven't processed your trauma yet. You haven't processed your and the trauma, and I mean that like the adulation. Sometimes that you have that championship, we are the champions, and you get off the slow starts and you can't get into gear. It's the same sort of thing. So I witnessed that too. I wanted to bring it up, but I slowly but surely started to come that back. What is that a result of? It's the first, let's talk about it, because it's the first time Dylan Larkin's gone through this. Has lost, a close friend in that he's 8 years and being the captain, and probably somebody that they've talked about, winning cups together with. That's the whole thing. So, I just think just because it's the one thing it's more of the parental thing. So I think as a team, there's no question that they go as he goes, and it was just something that I expect them to play. Really, like against Boston, you wouldn't expect what the season Boston has and the firepower, but I think that you're gonna see something that these guys get up. Yeah. And remember, also too, this is Derek Lalonde's first year, right? We forget. Do you forget that sometimes?
Sometimes I do, just based on like the way he handles things and like the way I see him in the press conferences, the way he practice after tough losses, after going through all this stuff, just the way he handles it. Sometimes I do forget, because it just seems like, I know he's had experience assistant, he's been a head coach other places.
But he sounds like John Cooper. He sounds like he was the head coach with the experience.
The way it's like he's been here for longer than a year. That's what I'm saying. Like he's truly a professional at what he does, and he's great. And I'm inspired by the way he's handled things as a professional and whatnot. So and that's awesome to get ahead of it. All right, hockey homework for Michael.
I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Marco Kasper, our last year's first rounder, who was playing over in Sweden this year. I need you this week to do a little deep dive digging at the rink and to see if it's we can come on here and Chompin puck and say that we've heard from some good sources, maybe that he's going to be in Grand Rapids next year, or that's the plan.
Well, maybe even the Red Wings. Who knows?
Whoa, there you go. You never know what the plan is. Fast track in here.
Not jumping the gun.
Fast track in here. Speaking of fast tracking, before I let you hear from, oh my gosh, the big fellas. We'll be right back after this commercial break with my friend Big J.R. Adams.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-made Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Chompin Puck, episode 4. Darren, McCarty, Michael Gentry here, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all. How do I introduce this gentleman? If you've ever seen me out in public doing events and whatever, and you wonder what the shadow is following me around, because what do I always say? You don't have to ever worry about me. You got to worry about who's coming behind. So you know what? I'm going to actually put a face to
That shadow.
this gentleman to that shadow. Absolutely, Michael. He is not only the proverbial head of security for the Darren McCarty brand and anything Darren McCarty. He is my good friend. And he can remember how long, but I just say 25 years or so, that long. The old brother from another mother. But this gentleman is the reason that I do. Yes, this is Jay Adams. Give it up for him. The reason that I do the wrestling, because he was formerly known. You might have seen him all across the great wrestling world, and we'll get into it with him as Eddie Venom. You might have seen him on the big screen, on the TV, as he is into the stunts, and he has stunt doubled. You know, the best one is I always go, Sons of Anarchy. Oh, yeah. So he doubled for Opie.
Did you really?
Right, but on the Outlander, when they did the Outlander show, he's just recently, you can see him punching the head character in Ray Donovan, Billy Donovan, I believe. Was it Billy?
Bunchy.
Yeah, much. Yeah, he's a tough guy. There it is, Jay, and recently on Tulsa King. But first and foremost, the reason why he's here, he's also one of the reasons we've always got along is because his compassion and his give back for the community is as great as anybody's, including myself. So we're here to talk about next Saturday. If you're not doing anything, guys and girls, after the Wings game, myself, Mickey Redmond, we will be shooting over to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Why? Because the Detroit Red Wing alumni will be taking on the UCP Pucksters, led by Mike Ward. Bunch of pucks. You know, Jay, I don't like the way this always works out. And, there's pictures of the past. There's been physical altercation. Not gloves dropped, but between me and Mr. Adams in the past. Yes, he's very large on skates. How tall are you, Jay?
Off skates, I'm 6'6", 6'7", somewhere around there.
Yeah, so he's like 6'10", wrestling. Like a big. Very big. But, Jay, thanks for coming in. I know the long intro. Love you, brother. But talk to me about, what we're getting. And you know what? I'm going to take a page, mark my word, I'm going to take a page out of Steve Yzerman's, but I'm going to work the phones. I got to get the phones on. There's got to be something that maybe we can do. Because, guys, he also plays with the Red Wings alumni. So I don't know how, I know because it's charitable and stuff like this, but there's something because I like it when we're playing Fish Fiasco and I can look out there and you're like rolling guys over, clearing the puck out of the zone. In fact, there's a great picture online of Jay coming out of the zone. A guy got in his way and he sort of ran him over. And there's me on the bench going, you got run over.
The best part of that picture is that, I turned it into a GIF and I look and first thing I notice is Darren right on the bench. He's like, yeah.
That's my monster. My heater, as they say in the wrestling business. Wrestling term number 1 of the day. Heater. Okay? So, talk a little bit about what's going on. I believe puck drops 6 o'clock.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, it's going to be a great day because Saturday they play Colorado at 1 o'clock. Then you can come to Orchard Lake St. Mary's at right by Kego Harbor. And this event is free, which is awesome, too. Free for the public. Come on in. 4 o'clock, we have a sled hockey game. An exhibition game where we have members of the Bell Tire Bombers and the Michigan Sled Dogs are going to be
now, if anybody out there has never seen a sled, it's sort of like wheelchair basketball, but it's where the Olympics, you sit down. And I'll tell you this right now, is I've done this before. I think we did it before a game one year, but it is so hard. I would love to get easy out there. Then we could tie them down and then we could just pelt pucks at him and stuff like this, but that'd be cool.
Like
but,
Goldberg, the goalie, you know?
right? But so
the sleds are amazing. So the sled hockey teams are a group of disabled children and adult that are able to play hockey, and they have these modified sleds, and the little sticks have the spikes on the end, and that's how they go. So it's an awesome event. What we do is we get regular people that don't play sled hockey very often, and we throw them in the sleds, and we make them play against the sled dogs, and it's fun to watch, man. It's so cool to see these kids flying around. So that starts at 4:00. Then they'll surface the ice, and then at 6:00, yes, the Red Wing alumni game and it's all to benefit Michigan United Cerebral Palsy, which is a great event. This is the 21st year that we've done this event, and the Red Wings alumni has been involved with every year. So it's been an awesome event every year. We're able to raise a lot of money for Michigan United Cerebral Palsy, and it's just a fun time. We'll have 50-50, that kind of stuff. So we really encourage people to come out and have a great, because it's really a fun time watching the game. Because like you said, we rest around a little bit. We get, it's not as stressful as a regular game. This is more of a fun game that we can all go out there and have a good time, and it's fun to watch the guys have a good time.
Now, Jay, can we agree that and maybe I'll save this for after you get into. So first of all, tell people a little bit about you. But I mentioned that a lot of one of the things when I first met you that you did was wrestle. You were known as Eddie Venom. Yeah. Right, you're towering figure. I say Eddie Venom was the sort of you're a cross between Kevin Nash and the Undertaker.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Like with more of a Kevin Nash personality, because you were all about like the charm and the charisma. You weren't right, and then when you had to, but I saw a lot of. Because of the size in you, but also the dominance, right? But talk about how you got involved, and maybe tell everybody where you grew up, because it'll segue me into the hockey question.
Yeah, I'm a Downriver kid, man. I grew
DR,
up
baby.
River. That's right. I'm a river rat. I grew up in Southgate.
Awesome.
Growing up playing, I was always a big fan of pro wrestling. I loved watching it all the time. I never really knew how to get involved with it though, and being in Michigan. Sometimes, which I'm hoping that I can help younger people realize they don't have to feel this way. But a lot of times, you're from Michigan, you feel, that kind of stuff that's a New York or Hollywood kind of thing. I'd never be able to do that. No, that's not the case at all. I'm proof positive that you can do this. I went to a wrestling school here in Michigan, Truth Martini, the House of Truth Wrestling School.
Yes. Hey, Spenmo.
Yeah.
When your buddy there, right, grabs his cojones, right, we're gonna absolutely Dudley death drop his ass through a table or something like this. And now I've already ran it by Truth. It's just got to get his sorry ass in there. Talking about you, Easy.
We're ready.
Yeah, talking about you.
We're ready, guy. We talked about a while ago. He's got to find out what an actual getting hit with a steel chair feels like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the whole thing. Wasn't he just talking about it is? Anyways, nothing better than showing mark. A mark. That's also a wrestling term, which means
Number two.
Jay, what would you call? Is a mark an unintelligible fan?
No, well, a mark.
Or what's a mark?
So a mark is really mark's an old term that come from way back in the day.
Of course it is. They found it on Oak Island, for Christ's sake.
It's old vaudevillian days and things like that. A mark was somebody that the old carnival days. A mark was somebody that could be taken for money. They would literally have people that could find the marks, and they would mark them with a piece of chalk so that all the
I was wrong. He's a
all
jobber.
The carnies would come.
He's more of a
there
jobber,
you go.
right?
There you go. So the marks are the
jobber?
fans that you can really get hooked into it and really believe what's going on. A jobber is the guy that just goes out and gets beat up.
That thinks he's tough. We're gonna job him. We're gonna Iron Mike Sharp his ass, right? The Canadian legend. I'll even let Easy say he's from Canada just for that, Mikey. Yeah. Anyway, so back to doing that with the wrestling, which led you into because you had a bad injury,
Yeah, so
right, and that's when sort of, and I don't have enough time. If this was grind time with Darren McCarty, you get it all. But this is Chompin puck, so I got to fast forward this stuff.
Absolutely.
But that you had a bad neck injury,
back injury, broke my back in 2012. Decided to get into something else, and I got into stunt work. One of our friends, Zach Gowen, the one-legged wrestler, got actually hired by a movie locally to do a stunt where they would blow his leg off with a cannon. I thought that was the coolest thing. So I had him actually introduce me to the stunt coordinator, and I started talking to him about how I can get involved in the business, and he introduced me to other coordinators. Boom, boom, boom. Kept snowballing from there, training different places, and until I finally was, starting.
So tell people a bunch of stuff that you've done, because here's also things that I want you out there if you're watching this. Like Jay said, downriver kid. Right, a kid from Michigan, whatever, like that is doing this. All these opportunities aren't New York, California, Hollywood. If you want to do it, so he put the work in. But tell them some of the movies that you've been on, and small shout out there, and shout out to Shannon, who's Snow Red, who's Jay's wife. But the way that their living room is decorated is all like you want movie. It's all movie poster matinees, and a lot of the shows that he's been in and stuff like this, which is really, really cool. Right, so if you didn't know, sorry.
Yeah, it's a cool thing for me because I'm such a lucky guy. I've gotten to do so many amazing things. I've gotten to be in Batman vs Superman. So I'm in the DC universe. I was in an episode of The Punisher, so I'm in the Marvel universe technically. I've done Ray Donovan on Showtime, a couple episodes of Chicago PD, Blue Bloods. And then, more recently, I did a couple episodes of Jeff Daniels' show, American Rust, and one of my recent one that was really fun. I got to play a part in a show called Tulsa King, opposite of Sylvester Stallone, and got to play a biker and got to get in a shootout with Stallone and got to hang out with him a little bit. Oh, it was amazing. And the coolest part about it was, I told him because you were on his podcast a couple years ago.
The comeback. He does the comeback podcast.
I said, one of my best friends was on your podcast, and he's like, which one? I was like, Darren McCarty, he's the hockey player for Detroit. And he's like, yeah, here, take a picture with me and send it to him and tell him I said hi. So I was able to take a picture with Sly and text it to you, and it would be like, hey, man, Sly says hi. So it was a great experience. But, I've gotten to do so many fun things, and I've gotten to work with amazing people that I've grown up watching. I got to double, like you said, Ryan Hurst, who played Opie in Sons of Anarchy. I got to double him on a show called Outsiders for 2 years. That we just had a blast riding ATVs through the mountains. It's such a cool job, and I have to pinch myself sometimes when I'm on set doing something, and I'm like, man, I'm getting paid to do this. This is
because there's a lot of things too. Is that I'll be like, and we talk every day or whatever like this, but it'd be like, oh, I'm gone or you're gone or whatever. Oh, what are you doing here? And I forget, and then it's like, hey, that episode's on, and then boom, you see your buddy in this thing like fist fighting some dude like for real, wild. And that Shadow. Remember?
One of the funnest things I got to do too is I got a hockey movie. I got to play a hockey playing Santa Claus in a Disney movie. Like, how cool is that? So I'm technically a Disney princess, I think too. Yeah. So I think technically
you've done it all. You've done it all. You're wide right, and you're also. This is the best part. You know what a shoot job is? Another wrestling term. That means shoot means real, work means fake, or non-real, right?
Work is you're working. So you're working you're working that crowd.
Narrative. But if I say I'm shoot, like your shoot job, Spenny, is keeping the peace and keeping Sleazy Easy in line on the heavyweights, right? So Jay is cable guy. Right. Jay might come to your door.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now this is my favorite pop. I'm gonna bring it back around to hockey. Because who haunts you more everywhere that you go into that I see all the time? Tell these guys about, and this is, and I don't know if everybody out there, but you have this one friend. And I know it's a little bit different, but because of what he does, then it comes across. So this is my favorite part of the day, Mike.
It's interesting because so when I'm not doing movie stuff, I contract for a company, and I'll go into people's houses and I'll do internet and phone stuff. And but you got to realize that I grew up in this area, so I know what that era of the 90s to the 2000s Red Wings meant to everybody in this area. So you'd be well, I guess you wouldn't be surprised how many basements I go to and how many rec rooms I go into that is fully decorated and Red Wings stuff everywhere. And no doubt, everywhere I go, there's always some signed picture of Darren on the wall or a bobblehead of Darren just staring at me. And his eyes follow me the whole time. I can't get away from him. So I'll shoot a picture and I'll send it to him. I'm like, man, I just can't get away from you. You're always there.
So, Jay,
That's awesome.
on Big D Energy, which is the show that I do with Neil and Spencer, we have another guy on from 11 to 1 daily. We have another guy in there, Sam Flannel, known as the Legend Killer. Technically, this doesn't help the Legend Killer's argument, because if you haven't seen his take, is that his worst take ever is on Ben Wallace. And then I was also a mediocre guy. What was his quote?
He said, they're more
right place, right time?
Yeah, it's more Lidstrom and Yzerman's.
I was in the right place at the right time.
You were at the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
4 different
So what I'm
times.
saying is that I'm haunting everybody's basement. I'm in the right place, right time, which leads us back into hockey. And so you grew up a Red Wings fan. You
Absolutely.
grew up, the Detroit sports fan and stuff like that. Who's your favorite?
Just like you, I grew up through that Dead Wings era and then followed them till when I was in high school is when you guys were finally getting to the, I remember exactly where I was the night you guys broke the record for the most wins, and that game. I remember exactly where I was.
Who cares? We lost.
True, but I'm just saying that those kind of things.
Where
I
were you
remember
March
exactly
26, 97?
I was in my basement watching it with my buddy. I know exactly where I was.
Who was with you?
Dan, my buddy Dan.
Dan was with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice. How about for the 97 Cup?
That one, me and my buddy Jake, who you have met, who lives in South Carolina, we were at a friend's house in Lincoln Park. They were having a big outdoor party. They lived right off of Dix Toledo Road. I remember this because they were a block away from Dix Toledo Road. And after they won, we were celebrating. We went to the little coin-operated car wash. And we're just spraying into the street and stuff like that. As everybody's driving by partying. Yeah.
Dude, hey, Spenny. Seriously, that's a summertime heavyweight Sully celebration.
That's always
right. That's what we do. We always create. How about 02?
02? Oh, that's a good question. 02 was trying to remember because I remember if I was married or not. And 02, I would have to think about that one. But
he's got a bunch of times. That's why he's got to sometimes. He doesn't want to take his shoes off in front of everybody because he's got to count over 10. How about what's your best bet?
I got it for 08. I got the good memory of the parade. I hadn't seen you in quite a while, and the parade was going on. I went down there and I had my mohawk, and I had it spray painted red. And you were sitting in the back of the truck, and I was like, "Hey!" And you're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?"
Yeah, no.
And then we went to Chelly's afterward, and I drank out of the cup. Ozzy poured some beer into the cup, and I drank out. It was. I have all these memories. And that was years before you and I ever really hung out. So
right. But we've been crossing paths and stuff like this because we have a lot of friends in common. But
yeah.
We were leading different lives, Jay.
Yeah.
That's the time. So, so you've been a hockey fan all your life, and it all comes back around because if I watch hockey with anybody more than anything, it's probably with you. So you play. You're a big hockey. You're not just a fan. I mean, you're not a glory seeker like Meltdown. Right, where Meltdown, it's always like, hey, talk about me. I said, I'll talk about you. Hit the net once, and then I'll talk about you.
See,
Which, by the way, Meltdown.
I like to facilitate. I like to move the puck. He likes to shoot it.
Yeah, but he misses the net. Anyways, this is about you and stuff because you still play. You play beer league.
Yeah.
Right.
Our playoffs start next week.
You got championships.
Yep. Super Chiefs. We're going for a playoff run starting Monday.
So what would your you hear all of us talk all the time. You listen to the radio. Everybody talking about where are you at with where the Red Wings are?
I like you've said. I have total complete faith in Steve Yzerman. Since he came in, not even before he started the job here, what he did at Tampa Bay, he's got a track record. He knows what he's doing. He can build a championship team. And I have full trust in him. Some of the things I get lucky enough to do, I've at the Ted Lindsay Golf Outing got to meet Derek Lalone and the coaching staff and got to talk with them a little bit. And they have such a firm grasp on what this team means to this city and how important their job is, not just for hockey, but for the city of Detroit. And that's what I love to see, and I have such faith in them, and I'm enjoying watching it, man. It's going to be the next 5 years are going to be rad.
Who's your current favorite Red Wing right now?
My current favorite, I don't know. It was Danny for a while. I love Danny DeKaiser just because he's a local boy and he's just a great. We played hockey with his dad. He's just an awesome guy, but.
You just see, look at that. That is great. That is such the wrestling influence right there. Just why I've learned a little bit. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. That's why I'm going to make some phone calls because Jay being an alumni, he says that Danny Kaiser plays on the alumni now, so Jay's just trying to butter up to play next.
That wasn't right.
That
wasn't what that was. But Danny, if you want to come out, we'll be there.
How about growing up?
Pardon?
Who's your guy growing up?
So I was a weird. I always gravitate towards the taller guys because I'm a big tall guy. So like right now, I'm really loving Rasmussen. I love the potential of Soderblom. But back in the day, man, I was a primo guy, man. I was 55 all the way to the point where I wore 55 any league that I played for years and years. So yeah, I was a big primo fan.
Yeah, no, and that sort of makes sense. So Saturday, next
March
Saturday,
18th.
like Jay said, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, it's free. The sled hockey game against the vets and the family members, and I think that what's great is that's what hockey's all about. Is no matter what, you can give something back. It's the same way as when we do stuff with the Warriors and things like that, the veteran guys. It's just another way to give back. So, any new projects you got working? Any stuff? Oh, I was gonna say you didn't mention that you were downtown smashing up cars there.
Oh
recently.
yeah, that was great. Right before Christmas, Beverly Hills Cop was filming here for a week, and got to do some stunt driving on that, and it was a great scene. I can't wait till it comes out, but can't say much about it. But there's some cars that are going to be smashed. That's for sure.
All right. More importantly, before I let you go, Mandalorian.
Oh,
because you're like I always call him my Wookiee, right? That's Chewbacca. But
we're making that a sound drop. That's a drop.
Exactly. That's what it's like. I'll be Han Solo, and he's always the Wookiee. But no, Mandalorian. You happy so far? There's only a couple episodes in. But what about what Disney's done? Because for a long time there, dude, we were so no one like I would get upset, but this guy's got all the. Tell him about your collection.
So yeah,
he's one of those guys too.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'm a big collector of a lot of different things, but mostly Star Wars stuff, mostly the old toys and things like that, artwork, anything. I have the old Millennium in my office. I have a Millennium Falcon. I have 2 AT-ATs. I have a bunch of ships. I have just all sorts of stuff. So I've been a huge Star Wars fan my whole life. My goal right now, like I said, I got to be in DC. I got to be in a Marvel project. My goal is now to get into a Star Wars project. If I can do that, I'm throwing that out there, manifesting. John Favreau, if you need a Wookiee stunt guy, I'll do it. But yeah, dude, I'm loving it.
I want to be a stormtrooper.
Just everything that John Favreau has done with the new Star Wars material, man, has been.
Awesome.
I gotta get my wrestling bucket list done first, and it's not, and that's why Jay laughs at me and the influence is because I got choke slammed on the glass by Ricochet Page. I've been skewered twice by Atticus Cogar. I got gusted plated by Brandon Kirk. Wonder what Tommy's fighting KC, Tennessee tonight. I'll be there. That's how fast I can be there. Wonder what's gonna happen there because their doucher husband, Brandon Kirk, the champ, is going to probably get involved. I'll probably have to do some. No, I don't want to, stuff like this. But, right? I don't want to, so I'm going to do that bucket list first. Oh, Impact's coming to Canada, so I'll see if I can get, Bully to throw me, Bully Ray to choke slam me or power bomb me through a table. That'd be a good one.
That'd be awesome.
Right? You'd even be impressed with that one. Hey, Mike, so before I let Jay go, do you know how I know? Right? Hey, Spenny, you know what a great friend this guy is, right? Where some of the stuff is that he always knows what I'm doing and he's always sort of around. But if it's sort of anything suspy, he'll show, like I'll see him as we're planning it or whatever, like just not say anything, but just to, okay, make sure everything's copacetic, and I love that about him. Don't think like you don't talk about it, but I hope everybody can have a friend like J.R. Adams. So I'm going to make a couple phone calls. Hopefully I can get you out of that shirt, but you know what happens if you wear that shirt? Puck goes down. Nino Brown, you never know what's going down.
You should come out and see it.
Yeah, everybody come on out and see it.
Hey, yeah, and before we go to break, we do have a video that Jay sent me, and we're going to play that right now.
Oh, all right.
Let's see it.
Can we talk over it, Spenny?
Yeah, you can talk.
Oh,
just
hey,
wanted
Jay,
to
so
mic
this is Ray. Sorry, guys. This is Ray. That was Ray Donovan, right?
Yeah, that was Ray Donovan. I got
What's
to play
this
a
here?
character named Billy Gator, where I got to fight with Bunchy. This was a zombie movie we did here in Michigan. This one I got to play a pirate. This is just like this is my stunt reel. This is what I like show to coordinators and things like that of different stunts that I've done in different shows to kind of show them my abilities and what I can do and things like that.
Oh, is this when you were doubling for Ryan on?
Yeah, this is Outsiders, right? I got to fight
Outsiders.
with Joe Anderson, who's a really cool guy. Yeah, dude, I got some wrestling and stuff, you know.
There's Eddie Venom, sort of.
Yeah,
with
that was Eddie
looking like
Venom.
Ultimate Warrior, but Eddie Venom didn't look like the Warrior. He had that. That was the hair. Oh,
This was,
wrestling punches, wrestling headbutt.
Oh yeah, this
Which
was a
one's
fun.
this?
This was a fun fight. That's Ted Barber. I got to throw through a window.
There it
that guy
is.
is a stunt
Jay
legend.
Adams,
the myth,
stunts
the
at
legend.
yahoo.com. Give that grizzly guy a call. All right, we'll be right back. We got mailbag and we got some memorabilia. Mikey says we got some stuff. So, but first, check out these funny kids.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Exclusive. Your names, please.
Shiva. Ashray.
Right on, guys. Now, this is pretty cool. Where are you guys from? What part of town?
Detroit, suburbs. I'm from like Northville, suburbs. Yeah.
Same. Okay. Now, this is really exciting because this is, what was your name?
Shiva.
This is Shiva's first ever live hockey game. You've seen it on TV before, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And now this is going to be an experience. So, very rarely do we get to have these experiences that I wanted to capture. So Michael's behind the camera. This is before with an event, so we captured this. So between periods, after the first, we're going to meet up, and I'm going to continue this interview, and we're going to show them with clips. And I want you just to take it all in. Take it all. Don't be stuffing your face in the first period. Second period. Second period. All right, so can we see you? We'll see you outside Portal 10. By the things. All right, guys. I'm excited. This is going to be a good experience. What would you rate this as? Maybe that'll be. I'll give you some options. Chompin puck. All right. See you back in a bit. All right, here we're back. First intermission with Ashray and Shiva. Now, it was Shiva, remember, his first live game. Shiva, give me the thoughts that came to your mind.
You know, I think seeing it live, you like really appreciate the game more. I think the margin is super slim that you don't like get to see on TV, but like in person you see the slim margin, like the skill that's like required. So I'd say this won't be my like ever like last ever the Red Wings game. This will be my first, second, third, who knows.
So expectations, did it blow? Was it bigger than what you expected? spectators is the fact that now it's like you got panoramic vision everywhere. You can watch. And the thing that stinks for you guys watching now live is when they used to have only one ref on the ice, the stuff we could do behind the game. So you see, is the speed of the game what you thought it was? Is it faster in real life?
I think it's faster in real life. I think TV makes it look a little bit like smaller and easier, but like when you're seeing it in person, like whoa.
I agree, because in real life there's no commentary, so you're watching the game as what you see it. That play-by-play is happening in your head, whereas you're not listening to someone say what's happening. So it's happening much quicker as opposed to someone saying, okay, this person passed it to this person, but by the time they say it, you've already seen it. It's happening. You're like more locked in.
Yeah, your own narrative and stuff like that. Now, here's what I'm going to I thank you for joining us. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. Okay? I'm going to leave you with this here, right? Most side 53. We call this spot shadowing. Just take your vision, and when he's out there for a shift, just watch him. Everywhere you go, watch the puck, go watch the spot shadow somewhere. And then go to a forward, especially on the power play, like a David Perron. Spot shadow him and watch and see if that changes. Because now you can, like you said, create your own narrative, be your own cameraman. Right? All right, what do we think right here? Final score for this game will be what?
Let's say 5-3 Red Wings.
I like it. Dude, I'm going to do 5-3 Red Wings, he said.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to come back. We're going to score. I think we might give up another one, but I think we're going to win 5-3, 4-3 as well.
All right, we'll wait and see.
We might even take it into overtime.
First time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Joining us here at Chompin Puck. We'll be right back. Now, wasn't that fun? That's what I'm talking about. A little exclusive there. Thank you, fellas. And if you've never been to a live game, hope that experience. But how cool, dude. It wasn't 5-3, but the boys, they called it 4-3.
Yeah,
right?
That was cool.
It was 4th. Ended up 4-3. You know what I'm trying to say. They called it 5-3. I still give them credit.
What a game, though. First game. They got to see that exciting game. Red Wings come back. So hopefully they'll come back.
I'll be eager for an update. Thank you, fellas. And maybe, you know what? That'll be perfect. We're going to do stuff like that on the 18th. So come on, if you're out there, check us out. But now it's time. Mailbag time. Ask D-Mac.
Before we get to Ask D-Mac, we are actually going to put up the tattoo pictures. We had, I think, 3 or 4 of them sent in. Start with whatever one you want. Spencer.
Oh, Dan O'Donnell. Yes, I have seen this one. This I ranked as the best tattoo I've seen. Like,
holy shit!
Like, that'd be like uber facetious and stuff. And Jay's like looking at me. I'm not even looking at him. He's still in the chair, and I know he's like shaking his head probably because he knows that like to get it done that good, I might even get that done on my own body. But no, that's still too That's too much of a flex.
I wonder how much he paid for that. It looks really, really good.
$1 billion.
Yeah. $1 billion.
It's priceless. But thank you, Dan. Thanks for sending that in.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
that's
by
at the
far.
top of
Can't
our
wait.
list.
Hey, if you're out, if we run into each other somewhere, make sure you let me see that live.
Yeah.
You probably already have.
Sandy D. She's got the Red Wings with the
there's
heart.
our girl Sandy. She got the heart with the Red Wing tattoo. Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, I love
that. Pop-Tarts and Red Fizz.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Red Fizz candies provided by Sandy, too.
Red Wings faithful.
That's
Sandy.
apropos. She loves the Wings a lot.
Yes, she does. Kyle R. There's the octopus. It
Kyle R. There's Al, the angry octopus.
That's one of the many we will receive. I guarantee that.
I like it, and I like the octopus. It's got a little toot on it.
It's got the stick in his hand and everything.
Little toot, not quite like mine, but yeah, we'll compare. See mine right here.
Yeah, the
small flex.
Small flex.
I gotta put the rings on and stuff.
It's
a prototype. You know how we work. Was that all of them?
Yeah, that's all. Now we are starting we have 3 questions to ask.
3 questions in the mailbag today, Michael.
Remember, every week submit your questions to Chompin Puck for Spence, for myself, for D-Mac, whoever you want, and your Wings pictures, your Wings tattoos rather, and your Wings memorabilia. We will air them all each week. But for the first question, D-Mac, this is for you. What was it like when the Red Wings added Hall and Luch, and what did you learn from them?
Back in 2000, One, when we added Brett Hull and Luke Robitaille to the team, better known as the Hall of Fame team and stuff like that. I room with Luke Robitaille. So used to have roommates on the road and stuff like that, and we had such a great time. If you don't know, he's the president, I believe, or the vice president of the LA Kings right now, him and Rob Blake trying to get them in order, but one of the nicest human beings that you could have met. Sasha was his wife? Stacia. Sorry, I apologize, Stacia. Yes, who's an artist and stuff like this. Just great people. Great people. Also, what did you learn? Some of the funniest stories. Brett Hull is a great storyteller. He always used to do the Ken Hitchcock. For fuck's sakes, guys, you can't do that anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so Holly was a character, but definitely without those two guys, I wouldn't have won my third cup. And the best part about the O2 team is the Hall of Fame team, as it's known as, and the greatest plug for that is Wayne Gretzky, the greatest player of all time, was asked, what was it like to play on the greatest team of all time? And he said, I don't know, I never played for the O2 Red Wings. So that's what it was.
Yep.
To supposed to be that good and to be able to finish the job. One of life's great accomplishments.
No, that was a great question, and I don't know if I said it before, but thanks, Tim Nelson.
Timmy Nelson, sending it in.
Our next question is from a Penguins fan, Billy.
All right, we take them all here. Look at you playing
Bring
nice.
in all the strays. We'll take
until we don't have to play nice.
If the NHL was to expand again, where would you want to see another team? Second, if you could change one rule in hockey, what would it be? And why?
I always said that I believe that. And I got a chance to play there my first year, I believe, or was but Quebec City, like there should be another Canadian team, maybe in Montreal or something like where could it expand? That I wanted to go somewhere that I could support. Now, in the rules that changed, I don't know if this counts, but I think the biggest thing would be make it European style ice surface, because people, they know that over here it's 180 by 2 or 180 by 100. No, wait. It's 180 feet by 100 over there. It's 108. Let me get this right. 200 by 80 here, 200 by 100 across the pond, which means there's more space on the wall, more space because guys are bigger and faster and stuff. So I changed the size. Anyway, where I played junior, where Ottawa's farm team plays, Belleville, Olympic ice. Learn how to swim. But thanks for we'll play
thanks,
nice.
Billy. Great question.
Play nice with the Pens fans.
All
they
right.
got one. We got one. They got one. I know. I learned how to share spending. You know how that works.
All right, our last and final question. This is from Josh, and he's a Devils fan.
Well, you know what?
Devils
He's got one, and I got none against him. So I don't know how I feel about that.
right.
But no, I appreciate the love, Josh. What do you got, Mikey?
He said, "What sacrifices did you make during your personal and professional career? Sorry." And what would you change any of it? Secondly, who's a netminder that you felt you always had his number and a netminder that's always had yours?
Oh, I
like that
Patrick
second
Waugh.
one.
There's no question about that. I mean, serve it up, Buttercup. I mean, playoffs, regular season, you name it. You could name every other goalie probably owned me, but you know, a guy that come to Mickey Kippersoff, I had to go join him. I mean, he stoned me in the playoffs there in 03. From point blank were two of the most ridiculous things, but every other goalie other than Patrick Waugh owns me.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you got one of the goats in your bag. That's all that matters.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for today.
Oh, and what would I change?
Yep. What would you change? Personal and professional.
Personally, I think that Jason over there laughing. Yeah. I might have, you know how and behind the curtain, you know how we were having a conversation beforehand, and it's more or less the things that it's okay as long as you understand it and you know them, but you realize if you have the power to do something about it or not, but you put yourself in the situation to always ask questions, right? Sort of something like that. Yeah, I think I would have taken better care of myself. You know, like if I know now the way it plays out, and it ain't because of the losses, and it's more the life than it is. It's just because I could have got here and not had to do the stupid shit.
Yep.
Like the stupid or the shit that you're shameful or embarrassed for is the stupid shit. But we're all the same, and I'm not the same person. And I look over here at one of my best friends in the world is that he's not the same person as when we both met. And there's a lot of growth. And it's sort of like the old adage, here's the motivational side. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time around. You will exude a combination of those characteristics.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
Jay Adams, as you met today, is one of my guys. So we're doing, and we sit and we laugh. We laugh because, and it's almost like we laugh together, and it's grateful because we survive. Because a lot of people didn't, that you know, and lost a lot of things along the way. And then I think that, you know, it's just something to try to be better. If don't lie to the person in the mirror, try to be better every day. So is that it for this episode?
That's it for episode 4.
Wow. Well, I got to thank. Remember, next Saturday, 4:00 sled game, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. That's Stick Ground, Stick's house. We better give him a call.
Yeah,
Gosh
Stick
darn
will
it,
be
I hate going into Stick's area.
Never want to go there.
Without a pass. But anyways, in the alumni games at 6, it's free. Anyways, for Michael Gentry, spend more racks.
Jay.
I'm Darren McCarty. Whatever you do, just do it well. We'll see you next week on Chompin' Puck.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots, he scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes, you'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.